I'm Brian Harmon, and we are Harmonizing Humanity. Our guest today is Janice, Laine, and the first question I have for you is, can you tell us something about your background, your family, where you grew up, that sort of thing?
Okay, I was born in a small town in Nebraska, Norfolk. That's where Johnny Carson was born. And I was raised in a small town in Iowa, up in the sort of northeast corner. And I left there as quickly as I could, as soon as I graduated from high school. But first I went to Creighton University in Omaha for a year, and then I didn't have any money, so I went to work. And then moved out to California to get for the sun.
Okay.
And I met my husband out here, and we got married, and I started having children. And one day I was sitting there trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and there was a cake decorating class at the Y, but there was an anthropology class at Santa Monica City College.
Oh, tough choice.
So I took that anthropology class, and then I started taking one class a semester, and it took me like 10 or 12 years, I don't know. And I got my bachelor's degree, and by then I was teaching, and so I went ahead and got my master's degree. So I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in education with an emphasis in reading. So I taught high school kids how to read.
Can you tell us about your parents, your siblings, that sort of thing?
I just have one sister, and my parents they met in Norfolk, and my dad's parents came from Austria, and my mom's parents came from Holland, and they're in the middle of Iowa, and well, Dad was born in Kansas. My dad was born in Kansas, and Mom was born in Norfolk. Okay, I think a lot of things are very interesting about me because when I went back to school, before I got my master's in education, I started substitute teaching in Huntington Beach Unified School District, and then just before I finished my master's, I got a full-time teaching job there. So I was teaching, I was going to school, I was raising 4 kids and an angry husband, and I was doing some volunteer work. So I kept busy. So anyway, then I got the full-time, I was teaching full-time, and you remember Jarvis came through with the taxes right about that time? You know, I was so sorry for the people that were on Social Security. They were losing their houses because the taxes in the area were going up, up, up. And so Jarvis came in and made all the taxes 1%. Well, that was good for some people, but for me, I lost my job because there was no more money. When I got the job, the coffers were flush with money, and then they weren't. So I left teaching, and I went into business with my sister, and we had a gift shop. And my sister is considered a glass blower, but she doesn't really blow glass. What she does is she takes 2 rods of glass and you put it in fire and you go like this and you make a unicorn or a hummingbird or something. So she taught me how to do that. So I was a glass blower for a while, or glass sculptor for a while. And business was not so great, so had to go do something else. So I went back to school at UC Irvine and got a certificate in chemical dependency because I had my bachelor's degree in psychology. And I got a job at Memorial Hospital. And at that time, the coffers were flush, and a lot of the hospitals had chemical dependency units. So I was there for a while, and then they all went broke. So then I went to work for the Social Security Administration. And what I didn't like about that is, you know, you think that the government is very benevolent and kind, and you become disabled and they're going to give you money right there. Well, no, they're not. It's really hard to get on Social Security disability. And the job I had there was to tell people no. And one woman came in one time and she says, you know, I got denied for Social Security because they said my leg wasn't bad enough. She said, they cut it off now. And now can I have my disability? Well, so anyway, I hated that job. I used to go to work and I'd be singing happy songs, hooray for Hollywood, and then I get to the office and I just start to cry. I just hated that job. So then I went to work for an attorney who helped people get their Social Security benefits, and I liked that.
Ah, and
So-
you could use your skill for the other
Right.
side. Uh-huh.
Right,
Good.
so I help people get their Social Security benefits. And then after a while of doing that, I have a bug. I've got to just, it's kind of an itch. I started going to a post-secondary school to learn reflexology and massage. And so I did that for a while. I went to school, and then I decided I know everything there is to know, so I got a job teaching anatomy and physiology there. So I taught anatomy and physiology and reflexology and Swedish massage there for a while, and then I retired. So then my husband was in hospice for over 2 years. And so I took care of him, and then as soon as he passed, I moved over to Leisure World and started doing stuff there. The thing about is that my husband and I lived in Seal Beach like 40 years ago. Our kids went to school at McGaw and Zoder School and Huntington Beach High School. Yeah, let me tell you about my volunteer work. Long Beach had a free clinic, and is in the 60s, and all the street people needed help, and so I did volunteer work at the free clinic, and that was alive. It was really popular. There was it had a 2-story building, and we had like 10 doctors that would come in and help. And then it kind of fell apart, so that was gone. But the other thing is like every other person in my family is alcoholic or drug addicted. So I went to Al-Anon a lot. I used to go to Al-Anon like 2 or 3 or 4 times a week and did a lot of talking to people. And I think that was helpful. I think one of the nice things about Al-Anon and AA is the old timers, the people that keep coming back. And so that the newcomers, won't have to start all over. You can use some of that expertise from that. So I did a lot of Al-Anon work, and that's kind of how I got the job at Memorial Hospital Chemical Dependency, because not only my degree in psychology, but my work, all the work that I've done and all the meetings that I went to at Al-Anon. Well, I wasn't going to be a director, but I got talked into being a director shortly after I got here. So I was a director for 2 years, and that's quite an experience. So anyway, I did that, and then also I got, I've been to like all the different classes, like Zumba and line dancing, and I've tried all those. One of the things I was doing, though, I was going to a class called Interlaughing, and Mary Galliani, who's a professional comedian, was running it, and it's an improv group. So I really got involved in improv. And people think that that's some really strange thing, it's really hard to do, but I love what Stephen Colbert said. He says, life is an improv act. You never know what you're going to be doing next. And that's very true. So improv now is being used in the schools. My granddaughter, who's 13, has an improv class at her school. And businesses are using improv to help their salespeople learn how to react appropriately. And psychologists have been using it for a long time, role playing. So improv is in practically every business that there is. So I was really delighted with the improv class. Well, when Mary Galliani stopped the Interlaughing class, Bev Bender, who teaches laughter yoga at our medical center here, and she was in the class with me. And together we decided that we would start another laugh class. So now we have a laugh class called Make 'em Laugh. And we have people come in, and we guarantee we'll make you laugh.
The idea of the show is how we make the world a better place, and I know you've done your share of that. You shared some of those things that you did at the free clinic and working with Al-Anon and Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's some other things that you can tell us about.
Well, the other thing that I'm really involved in now is the Video Producers Club. Bonnie Cooper, is in the Video Producers Club, and she was helping us with this centenarian project. And she invited me and some other people to come and join the Video Producers Club. So I did, and I had never held a camera before. I didn't know anything about cameras. I didn't know anything about producing. But the people that over there, especially Joe Suna and Joseph Valentinetti, are very helpful. And so there's cameras there, and I could borrow a camera, and they just pushed me out there. I remember the first thing that I went to, there must have been 200 people there, and I was supposed to, I didn't know what I was doing, and finally Joseph was there, and he told me how to stand up on a table to get them. And then I panicked because my camera wouldn't go on. I had it open, but I forgot to open the lens cap. So whatever thing could go wrong did. So I learned how to use the camera, and I'm getting pretty good at it. And so I do a lot of the clubs and things, but also having been a teacher, I like to do tutorials. It's cute. It's really cute. I have a part in it. It's a really big part. I have a sign, and when the dastardly Dan comes on scene, the bad guy, I have this sign that says "Boo," and I walk across the stage with it.
Very good.
Yeah. And
That's important.
I asked for that part, because they were doing tryouts. So I went to tryouts, and I said I want a non-speaking line.
I can't imagine.
No, because my memory, it's weird being this old. I'm 79 years old, and I do not know. It seems like I should be doing things different. I have a completely different view. I see somebody else that's 79. I think, God, they're old, and here I am.
Yeah, you gotta keep active now that you're 79 years old.
Well, I used to have a dog. His name was Albert Einstein, so I used to tell people I slept with Albert Einstein. So Bert was 16 years old, and he went to the great place in the sky. And so, but I used to walk him like 2 or 3 times a day. So now I only walk once a day, but with all the activities that I have, I do get quite a bit of walking in. I used to do some of the exercises, but I don't anymore. I think one of the things that saved me is I don't drink. I mean, I don't, once in a while, I'll have a glass of wine or something, but I was a really cheap date, because you'd take me out and I'd have one drink, and I wouldn't even finish it. So I think that saved me a little bit. And I didn't start drinking coffee till I was almost 40 years old. And I wonder if coffee and booze does something to a person's face.
Oh.
Or, I don't know, I'm just fortunate. I'm just really fortunate.
Well,